I'm Justin Davis, and this is Runcam's RC. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I've had this Eagle 2 now from Runcam for about 2 weeks, and I waited for a while till I had some decent footage, and I went out to some cool flying spots to show you the brightness, the contrast, and how well this camera performs in low level light, and it changes, quick changes from light to dark, because a lot of times when you're flying outdoors, you're flying above trees and you're in full sunlight, and then you fly below and you're in a pretty good shadow. So how does this camera compare to the original Runcam Eagle that came out a while back? I felt like both of these cameras had a decent latency. This one, the original one, has a little more. The Eagle 2 was fixed up a little bit, and it has about the same latency now as the Swift 2, according to Oscar Lang on his review channel. If you look on his website, you'll see the specs. But these are both 800 TVL cameras. Both have WDR, and the new Eagle 2 actually has a really nice WDR setting. If you go into the settings and you change it back, turn off WDR, it's unbelievably different. Everything looks like dark shadows under the trees, and you lose all of the detail that you see out in front of your camera. For me, flying freestyle, and that's my favorite, I need some contrast in the tree branches to see the ghost branches coming at me, especially when you're kind of zipping through gaps. If it's kind of muddy, then it's really hard to see where you're going. And I think this camera is great for those low light level changes that occur a lot when you're flying under trees. And especially out in the Pacific Northwest, it's, sometimes it's kind of dark here, and we need a camera that has a better color saturation as well for dark skies, and something that handles contrast, not contrast, but handles low level light much better. So this is the camera for me as of this month. Now, I didn't really care for the Runcam Eagle too much. I felt like it had too much sort of noise in this, and I had to really bring down the sharpness and contrast levels to match what I wanted, and that made this camera a little bit too soft. But the newer Eagle 2 seemed to be able to be adjustable. Joshua Bardwell showed his between 4 and 6, and that's about where mine's at. So that's how I like mine. I don't like mine to show that grain on the screen. It's really ugly looking, and it's distracting when you're flying. So if it came already tuned down, that would be nice from Runcam. If people didn't see that right away, because they get you get a bad impression of the camera if you see that first thing out of the box. It also does have OSD settings in here. You have all the same enhancements in here for like sharpness, saturation. You can mirror the image. You can change the brightness, contrast. You can actually zoom in, and you can change the WDR on and off, and you can change the gain up and down, which is super nice. You also have automatic daylight and night modes. You can turn that to color and keep it color saturation. So if you go into a dark spot, it stays color instead of going black and white, because like some people don't like that transition, and I don't like it myself, so I actually have mine set to color. You can also change the video standard from PAL to NTSC, and that's kind of nice. Doesn't really matter on my goggles. But you can also update the firmware, which is pretty sweet. So you have all this different stuff inside this camera menu. A pretty nice camera. It has a 2.5 lens on this one. It has the larger lens here. And they have this kind of shiny new red alloy looking exterior. Really nice. And it fit inside this frame really well. I set this up last week before we went to race with Team Ferrari North America, and I put my Tattoo 30 amp D-Shot ESCs on there with the 2306 Emax motors and those new Avon props. So this is the setup that we used to test out the new Runcam Eagle 2, and it did quite well. I was pretty impressed with it, especially because we went to one location where we had a huge cliff, and there was a lot of trees around the backside of this parking lot. So as I dipped down into this cliff, into this little parking lot, it got pretty dark and shaded down there, but we were able to actually fly this thing and see. So that's a big deal. When you go down and you're flying in such a harsh environment, you want to be able to see, and that's what's important with these FPV cameras. Now this one does come with a little OSD programmer. This is actually the video out cable, but it does come with one of those little programmers. I don't know if it's in the box here. Nope. But you also get just a little joystick thing. You guys have seen them before on the channel. But this is another backplate that comes with it. It's a pretty nice metal alloy backplate with nice coating. All the products from Runcam are pretty high quality. If you're seeing some of this Runcam stuff for the first time, you definitely want to check out runcam.com. You also have this little extra additional mount if you need it, and you have some mounting hardware in the box as well. And a lot of times I keep these boxes because these are actually really nice boxes for putting screws. I actually have some mini quads over here that are small enough to fit in here for transport. I just built this one from Flex RC a few days ago, and that one fits happily inside there for transport in my bag when I'm just running out to fly real quick and come back. So very useful boxes, really nice. But beyond all the tech stuff, guys, let's go outside and let's actually give you a real-time view of what this camera looks like with my tune, and we'll show you a few different spots that I flew. Not the greatest, most amazing pilot skills in this video, but it will give you a good idea of how good this new Runcam Eagle is. So thanks again for watching. Enjoy the footage. Okay, here we go, guys. Just to help you out in this video, give you something to take home, something to look at, a difference between these different popular cameras by Runcam. There's a guy with a fire hose. Look out for that guy. This is the Eagle 2, and it's pretty good. This is a lot of color saturation. I like the definition with this camera. I like the fact that I can see those ghost branches a little better than I can with the Swift 2. I swear it's just a little brighter and has better WDR than the Swift 2 does, in my opinion. Might not be your opinion, but there's that guy with the fire hose again. Watch out for him. So this is one of my favorite cams right now. I really like this entire setup on this quad, and I'm still getting used to it a little bit here, and I had no idea where I was going out on this track, but I was just trying to follow the outside course there. And I'm not a racer, so this is not really my thing, but it was fun to fly there. So this Runcam 2 looks pretty good. So let's show you a combination of both the Swift 2. This is some of my winter time shots on the left, and one of my more recent trips with the Eagle 2 and this new quad that I have. And you can tell right away, look at the trees. If I can slow down on the Eagle 2 for a second there, dip down into this little parking lot right here, you can see definition in these trees. Much better contrast brightness, in my opinion. You can see definition in the leaves and the branches and the ghost branches that almost got me right there, up and over these trees. And the trees on the left kind of look like black blobs. And now here's the original Eagle. You can see all that noise that people don't like about that camera. And this was one that I got as a prototype. So this was an early version of the Eagle. Might not be totally representational of the final product Eagle, but when I first put this on my airplane for a test, I didn't like the way it looked. It had way too much noise, and I tried to tune it, but I just couldn't get it right. So now we're back to the Eagle 2, and I just wanted you to see some more of this footage because I think this camera is fantastic. I feel like I see everything around me. I have a really good awareness of everything in front of me with this camera. The field of view is decently wide enough that when I'm flying in close proximity to trees, I can get in there pretty close, like right through there. I can see that gap just plainly. So in my opinion, when I'm flying new spots like this that I've never flown before, I want a really reliable camera. I've had cameras in the past. Some of the emerging cameras really got on my nerves because of the darkness, light and contrast. When you come up out of a shadow into the light, they don't change quick enough. And some of these Runcams really do that quite well. Keep that WDR on for this one, and you'll have a great camera for your quad. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next one.